Hello bags of Joe Plays Games, welcome back to another Ark Survival Evolved news video. Today we're going to be going over a few things you might not know about, when to expect the Ragnarok update for Xbox One, and what's going on with PS4 and the updates, or generally in the updates for both consoles. Every time we've had a major update, we've been getting bug fixes straight afterwards, and this time 3 separate updates for the PS4 after the latest major update version. That is a massive amount. What is going on? Are Wildcard not testing this stuff anymore? Are they just not bothering and just putting it out? Or is it just simply a case of unforeseen problems? It did happen with Aberration as well. Bearing in mind that was a paid DLC, we received up to 6 updates within a week after launch. No other game does that at the moment that I can really tell. You maybe get a tiny little hotfix, but not a huge amount. So what is going on with Wildcard? Also, other issues you might not know about that still haven't been fixed, and they keep saying they were, but they're still not there. You still have problems with breeding, and the Kibble is still not working correctly on the actual Aberration. So we're going to be going into that. And a huge one talking about what's going on with PvP and turrets. If you don't know, the turrets were nerfed, they were implemented on PC, and it's just come into effect on console maybe a week ago or a little while ago. There are significant problems with it. I'm going to show you some YouTubers that actually will be able to talk to you more in depth about how you can turn off every single turret in an enemy's base. And we may just go over some of the TLC stuff that's going on. If you don't know, some of the dinosaurs are being revamped. I've been telling you guys about this for weeks now. They did announce some more changes last week, but I was a bit busy and I didn't really want to go over it until we had a more of a confirmed date. There's still no real date for it, but I'm hopeful that they've been working hard on a big update for the game. The latest update that's hit PS4 and is coming to Xbox One later on this week, hopefully, was only a Ragnarok update of sorts. There was no real other patch notes or fixes added to the patch notes, but we will check again. So I'm hoping that means the main core team have been busy away getting the TLC ready, so hopefully we'll see it sooner than we think. So let's get on with the Ark news. So I know you guys are desperate for the Ragnarok update on Xbox One, and to be honest, you may not want it just yet. Like I said, with PlayStation 4 receiving 3 separate updates since the launch of the Ragnarok update, it does seem like there are some issues, so hopefully these are going to be resolved by the time it comes through Xbox. Maybe that's part of the reason why it's taking so long to get through certification. Now, in the past, Jeremy has tweeted that after launch of the full game, Xbox required longer to get updates through, but that would run out after a while, and we'd go back to how it used to be that Xbox and PS4 updates would come out roughly at the same time. However, he only tweeted a couple of weeks ago or last week saying that actually Xbox still takes longer, and it really shouldn't take longer. So something's going on. Is it the certification methods? Is it the actual state of the update that they're doing? Is it just not good enough and Microsoft is saying no? We're not too sure. This is the tweet that Jeremy tweeted out last week saying about it, or a good 10 days ago now, that it was likely coming 99% complete update tomorrow for PS4. Well, it turns out, as ever, Jeremy cannot get a date right to save his life. The Japan build crew were supposedly out of the office till Monday. That turned out not to be true either, because come Monday there was still no update, and in fact it didn't drop until a good 2-3 days after. And of course he mentions here the Xbox update will be later next week as well. Well, what a load of baloney, because that didn't happen either. So if you're expecting this Xbox update, I don't expect to see it until at some point around the 27th or 28th of January at best. Now, if it doesn't require as many hot fixes like the PlayStation 4 as needed, then that's all good and gravy. But really, come on Wildcard, you can't just keep releasing major content patches that end up requiring even more hot fixes and bug fixes. In total, what I counted, and you correct me guys if I'm right or wrong, but what I saw was the PlayStation 4 needed another 9 GB worth of update time. In 3 separate updates, all roughly around 3 GB, they needed fixing. And some of the problems that they were fixing were the border that was put around the screen. Many of you reported that if you was playing Primitive Plus and some other game modes, you had this weird sort of tea-stained border going across. Not to mention a huge amount of problems with actual Aberration. There was lots of floating rocks in Aberration, people were having visual issues massively, so there was big problems that obviously did need to be fixed. But is it a case of them just not doing their job properly and getting this tested before they release it? I personally would prefer them to spend a few more days baking the update, giving it a thorough Q&A testing over with before they actually release it. We are not in early access anymore, and we shouldn't have to put up with multiple updates that either take up massive amounts of your broadband or stop you enjoying your game. Particularly if you play on official servers, each one of these updates that hit PS4 made a significant impact on how you play your game. That's why the updates need to be consolidated and put into bigger updates, or if it's just the one update, make sure it bloody works. So there you go, mini rant over. Wildcard, fix your update shizzle. Test your stuff out, and to be fair, I know they don't have the greatest Q&A testing team. In fact, they're still looking for a Q&A manager. So maybe that's part of the reason why the Q&A is just absolutely awful. Again, in early access you expect some of that, that's like something almost a given, but the game has made 12 million sales. 12 million copies of Ark Survival Evolved have been bought and sold in the last 2.5 years. Cannot hide behind this small indie developer early access game anymore. They're a full retail game and they want to be a AAA franchise. That's what you need to do. You need to think about these updates more. And so last thing about the Ragnarok update as well, if you saw my rage quit video, you'll notice that I was trying to do the labyrinth puzzle. It is meant to be 99% complete on Ark Survival Evolved Ragnarok map. Unfortunately, it looks like PC has something really quite vital. Apparently on the switches in the labyrinth, heads up, there's meant to be some letters. These letters are meant to help you actually solve the puzzle. These were not showing on the console version, they weren't shown on PS4. Now, I did actually ask in the Ragnarok development Discord, but as of yet no one's got back to me why the letters aren't appearing. So if you're going to be venturing into the labyrinth in Ragnarok, make sure you bring plenty of grapples, because I didn't do that, or some climbing picks if you've got the Aberration DLC, and be prepared to either cheat on your single player world to work out the actual trap or to work out the buttons, or definitely go and check out some PC YouTubers that have taken out the labyrinth and they'll be able to show you the exact way to do it. I'm giving up on it. I'm not doing a puzzle until the puzzle's actually fixed, and then we'll revisit it. But I got really frustrated because I love puzzles, I love working stuff out, but when stuff is broken that you can't work it out, it just makes it a bit crap. And considering the map is meant to be 99% complete, it's a bit of a shame they oversaw something so minor as making sure the letters were on the switches. What I will say about the actual labyrinth though was I really enjoyed it. The idea of going into it, I've got much more respect now for the desert environment. After playing on it again, I can really see why the devs made it such a big open area. They did want it to feel like the desert, and they have got that, you know, inkling in them to base it on real sort of world places. And the gorgeous waterfalls are amazing. There's some really good spots for building, so I'm really pleased with it overall. I hope in the future they do go revisit. They did say they was going to be bringing in stuff like bosses, or like an ascension, like a different type of boss or a different type of ascension, but I guess that's maybe just a little bit too far out. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is a fantastic little video by a YouTuber called AGamer54321. Go and subscribe to him, specifically if you're a PvP player or you're really interested in the turret situation. He has done some really good testing on the turrets, and I'm sure there's lots of other videos out there as well, but I found this one. Big shout out to some guy on a bike who linked me this one, but this is a really good way of explaining what's going on. The crux of his video is this, that by placing 100 turrets within a certain area, even if you're in a different tribe, a different enemy tribe, by you placing other turrets nearby, it instantly shuts off the same amount of turrets in the enemy base. Now, you might think that would be difficult to do just because you can have 100 turrets on you. How would you get up close enough to actually place them? But as you can see from his video, you don't have to be that close. Really go and watch this video to get a better understanding of it. I'm probably not going to do it justice explaining it very shortly and quickly, but that's my general understanding, is that by placing these turrets, and you can see how far away that distance really is, you shut off some of the turrets in there. Now, people are already saying that you can do this on motorboats by building out foundations on them and placing up to 180 or whatever the limit is of turrets on a motorboat. And as long as that motorboat is in range of them turrets, you could effectively stop any base turrets from firing. It's a huge oversight from Wildcard, and I've known about it for a while. This came out on 12th of December, and yet there's still no plans that they have actually released or spoken about to change or fix this. The reason I know this is because I've also had other people tell me from the PS4 community since the latest updates that it's exactly the same thing. Big shout out to StitchBro1696, he brought it to my attention in the first place and mentioned about the turret situation. Really worried that people are going to abuse this and basically just cause havoc and mayhem, which they may already be doing. So if you play on a PvP official server, let me know how this is working out. Go and test it on PS4, let me know if it is a case of you can turn off some enemy turrets. Maybe you're in an alliance with another tribe, maybe you can test it together just to see how it works. Likewise, if you've got a PS4 and you want to do more testing, then come and join the Discord and link your videos to show that yes, this is the actual case. And definitely go and drop my man AGamer54321 a subscription as well. There are a huge amount of problems still on PvP. There are many reports as well of duping in full effect again, particularly the way that they're doing rollbacks. There is a timer set on the obelisks, that was the major way that you could do a rollback, but now people are talking about coordinating having Brontos and demolishing a lot of trees and a lot of berries, and it causing the game to crash again. Now it takes a lot of effort, but people are doing this and they're experiencing rollbacks. Instead of the rollbacks happening every few minutes though, it means that the rollbacks are limited to every 30 minutes. So if you're on an official server, particularly obviously PvP is where it happens the most, and your server is rolling back every half an hour or so, you may want to see if anyone is actually doing this method. If you've got any proof of that in the chat, make sure you go to the Wildcard forum and take a look and report it. And since it is duping and since it is something that's causing major issues to the game, you can even get in contact with the devs on Twitter. Just tweet at them and just say there's huge problems. They'll give you the correct links where you can report it as well. So a couple of weeks ago I showed you the first phase of preview of what they're going to be doing. Now none of this is set in stone, there may still be some changes with the final finished product. But just like the Sabertooth when they revamped the creatures model, Ark Survival Evolved are doing the same thing for a lot more of the creatures. What's really interesting about this is talking more about what I really want is the abilities of the dinosaurs. I'm not so bothered about what they look like, it's more about what they can do and how they implement or complement the game. So they've gone into a lot more detail exactly what to expect. So the dire bear is going to be immune to bees, they won't be able to knock you off your bear, and they will target focus the bear instead of the player. In addition to this change, the bear will also be able to harvest honey from wild beehives without attracting bees or hurting the hive. Plus the amount of honeys it receives will be 2 times the standard amount. So that makes a dire bear a really good addition. I love the dire bear, it's in my top 5 Ark Survival Evolved dinos. And yes, I know I just said dinos, but let's face it, there are mostly dinosaurs in the game. So making the dire bear even more useful is really good for people. Next up is the Protopticon, otherwise known as good old Skippy. So they're planning that it will take reduced fall damage, its carry rate will be noticeably increased, and it will gain a new ability to carry baby dinos and small creatures in its pouch. That is great stuff. Imagine that having to move bases for some sort of reason, and maybe you've got a brand new clutch of baby creatures, you'll be able to put them in its pouch and just ride off. They're also giving it the ability to knock back creatures a bit like the Diplodocus. Now on to Big Monkey Man. Now I will say that out of all the creatures, this guy probably does need the most TLC in terms of his face. It looks like someone's just photoshopped a flat picture of a gorilla and gave it some human eyes. So I'm really pleased that they're doing this. And obviously this is a bit of an old one, but we've got more details about exactly what they're going to be doing. It's going to have an armour degrading attack. It means when it fights, it will do more damage to your armour's durability. It's important to note that the armour degrading attack will not affect the Yeti creatures found in the game. Its movement speed needs some work. We'll be giving it the ability to jump, and it's going to be able to go across zip lines. It's also improving its throwing ability, so it's more accurate, similar to the crab, and it's going to have the ability to carry on its shoulder small creatures and throw them. And then onto the direwolf, again another creature a lot of people have wanted to see some TLC on for a long time. Now they did do something previously before the release of the game. They did implement some sort of pack mentality to it, or they added a little bit more stuff, you know, just refinement to it, but they are doing more. A howl will activate the pack buff for a duration of time. This means it won't be active all the time, but to compensate we'll be strengthening the buff to make the wolves stronger. As a little bonus is that when the alpha wolf howls, so will all the others. We're also planning for this mechanic to play out with wild wolves too. So you really will hear if a pack of wolves are nearby, they'll all be howling and you'll be like running scared. As for its nose, we're doing 2 things. We're providing it with a passive buff which allows it to sniff out people or creatures with less than 50% health, and this will be indicated via an icon. Think of it like the hunter's instinct. Secondly, we'll be giving it the sniff tertiary ability to indicate nearby explorer notes. That is a fantastic idea, as well as detect stealth or buried creatures. I really like that idea. Lots of the lantern creatures from Aberration obviously can detect if there's a high max level creature nearby, and it's going to be the same sort of thing in the bottom right hand corner. It will just simply show you that there's an enemy nearby who's low on health. And then the T-Rex, apparently they were quite happy with it, but they're going to give it a bit better climbing ability so it doesn't get stuck on every goddamn small rock going around. And they're planning to change the roar, that when it's targeting an enemy and using the roar, the enemy will be forced to shit itself. Now yes, it says poop, but let's face it, it's shitting yourself. There will be a cooldown on both the Rex and the people who recently pooped, so you can't poop block them with 10 Rexes. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being like, I want to see a video. I know it says it's not going to be like that, but it'd be amazing if there was a video of some poor sod getting terrified by a bunch of T-Rexes every 2 seconds that he just kept shitting himself. So according to them, they're also looking at more visual changes to the Spino, the Sarco, the Carno, Raptor, Female, Megasaurus, Plesio and Argy. I definitely would like to see more abilities pretty much to every creature. I really think it adds to the ecosystem, and I really think it stops people just going for some of the true and tried and tested dinosaurs. Now, when can you expect this? Like I said at the start of the video, I'm really thinking because they had the Ragnarok update was the major one this week, or hopefully next week by the time we get on Xbox, we should see this maybe hit a bit sooner. In my top 8 things coming to Ark, I predicted this won't come to actually March, maybe even April. And I'm still going to hold on to that. I still think there's going to be some things they need to fix or get it done. So I'm not expecting this till the end of February, beginning of March at the very least. And I still reckon it'll be more towards the end of March. If it comes any earlier, I'll be really super pleased, really surprised, and that'll be fantastic stuff. Now, one last thing to go before we finish off though is I talked about Aberration, breeding and actual kibble. So you may have already guessed that the Megalosaurus still isn't breeding correctly. On Aberration, you're meant to get Aberration creatures when you breed, but whenever you try breeding a pair of Megalosauruses on the actual servers, you will get a bog standard one. Now this has got lots of issues, mainly because I think they still have the sleep pattern of the standard one that you find on the other maps. So this has been promised as a fix. Now supposedly, again, it was meant to have been fixed on PC just before Christmas, and we should have received the same fix, but it looks like that's not happening. Now according to the patch notes as well as that, the Aberration kibble craftings have now been fixed, but I'm getting reports from my guys on Discord that there are still significant issues with the actual kibble. So talking about the kibble, I've got reports from some people on Xbox saying the kibble's now working, but maybe there were some issues with some kibble not actually working. But let me know in the comment section down below what's going on with these following ones. This was a Reddit post submitted last month. I presume it may have been fixed by now, but I don't necessarily think so. They are meant to be doing a kibble rewrite. The wildcard team are meant to be working on revamping it and making in changes. I don't know if they're going to be adding new ingredients to the kibble or whether or not just going to be changing what dinosaurs give what kibble for each dinosaur, but that's what they've got plans on. It meant to have come out before Christmas, but with the delays of the game and the DLC, it got pushed back further. But as of this post here, it says aberrant variants are not reworked to include new dinos. So if you're trying to get the kibble for the Megalosaurus, you've got no Oviraptor kibble. If you're trying to get kibble for Spinos, you've got no Argent eggs. If you're trying to get Ankies, you've got no Dilos. Now this did happen with Scorched Earth, but it was only for a little while because they opened up the servers in the end. But they've got no plans to do that on Aberration as far as we know. Aberration is locked. You cannot transfer any dinosaurs into Aberration. So let me know if these are actually viable. I mean, can you tame a Megalosaurus or a Spino with different kibble now? Does it need a different egg? I'm going to say probably not. I know you can use mutton and it gives you a very high yield, but if people want their preferred food for their dinosaurs, this kind of stuff does matter to people. So there you go, that is the Ark news done and dusted. Lots to think about and talk about and discuss. Let me know in the comment section what you think about all of that. Are you that bothered by the multiple updates? Are you just happy they're getting it fixed very soon? I still personally think they need to do better. Anyway, so that's the Ark news done and dusted. Tonight, Sunday, the actual 21st, if you're in the UK, make sure you're tuned into Aaron Longstaff's channel. He's going to be doing a special Patreon live stream. Aaron's a fantastic dude. I really like his builds, and definitely I've learned a few things from watching some of them. He has got some of my good friends actually doing a live stream with him. Missy Prime has done lots of videos with me over the last sort of 18 months. Fantastic friend to me. And with TLC138, another good friend who's actually also an admin on my servers. They're going to be doing a special collab or taking part in Aaron's live stream. It starts at 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time, 3 PM Eastern Time. So go and make sure you subscribe to Aaron. Make sure you check out the guys that they're actually doing this build with. It's fantastic. I can't wait to see what they're going to be doing. I will be tuned in the live stream, so say hello when you see me there as well. I am Jade Plays Games. This has been the Ark Survival Evolved news. I'll be back the minute that the Ragnarok Xbox update is ready to go. I'll be the first person to let you know. And as soon as we get any more concrete information about some of the changes happening with the TLC pass and what could be happening also in the future, I'll be there. Until next time, Ratbags, laters.